Man, it's been a minute since I watched anime. Let me see what this anime season is saying. Okay, I haven't watched Fire Force or Windbreaker, so those ain't options. Let's see what the original anime are saying. Not gonna lie, sometimes MAL ratings be tweaking. Let me just try one of these and see what the vibe is like. Wait, hold on. Isn't this that one highly anticipated anime? The one made by that director that made Samurai Champloo and a bunch of other great anime. Yeah, this is gonna be a movie. I can't wait. Do I even like anime anymore? I used to be able to watch like 20 episodes in a day. Am I washed? Has anime fallen off? I'm washed. Essentially how I consume anime now is I'll evaluate each season, typically watch most first episodes, then from there attain a handful of anime that interests me and continue to watch that for the rest of the season. It feels lighter, more digestible, and I don't have to binge anything. It just becomes part of my weekly rhythm. Something about not having to commit as much time to something makes the viewing experience just more enjoyable in my experience.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
Listen, man, Fur Coat, Volume 1, November 20th. Charlemagne?
I don't know, but this comes with an obvious downside of a spring 2025 because this season was so bad, I'd literally stopped watching anime for like 4 months. And if it weren't for Solo Leveling, probably would have been even longer. Since I didn't particularly like winter 2025 either, I've been watching anime for such a long time, and this felt like one of the worst anime seasons we've had in a while. In fact, I'll prove it. Wait, how am I going to prove this? I think the simplest way for me to do this is to first get all the ratings for every anime season since winter 2018 to present. Realize this was going to take way too much time doing this. Realize you code for a living. Write a script to access the MAL public API and get the average for each season. Get in your Jimmy High Roller bag and use these scores to plot a graph and confirm that you were wrong? Now there are tons of ways I could have done this, but I deem this to be the most fair. This graph shows that compared to the last 8 years or so, we were in a quite good place. But maybe that's all cope. Maybe I'm washed and I just don't like anime anymore. But hold on, it looks like I forgot one anime season. I don't think the average rating for this season does it justice. We might just be witnessing peak in every single genre there is in anime. Romance, action, comedy, mystery, sci-fi, you name it. This season got peak. Feels like we had to use the previous anime season as a sacrifice for what we're getting now. What FMA say? In all my years of watching seasonal anime, I've never seen something like this, and might never will. So I think it'd be a disservice if I didn't give you a list of anime you should be checking out. Clearly inspired by the likes of Godzilla, Kaiju number 8 is about an alternate Japan where powerful monsters have brought the nation to the brink of extinction, causing the development of a special task force for dealing with them. Think of a shonen version of Attack on Titan, but with Kaiju instead of Titans. Although this might seem generic initially, I think where Kaiju number 8 separates himself from other shonen is with its main character, Kafka Hibino, a man who gains the ability to turn into a Kaiju. Yes, this is another character with the infamous hidden demon trope, but not because of that. Ever since Kafka was young, him and his childhood friend Mina have always wanted to be part of the defense force. It's their dream. So the story probably follows him and his friend Mina as they join the defense force to defeat the threat of the Kaiju together. But no, this isn't the case. The story starts with 30-year-old Kafka at a dead-end job cleaning up scraps of defeated kaiju, while his best friend has fulfilled her part of the promise to join the defense force and has risen to the rank of squad leader, being one of the strongest soldiers there is. Damn. Isn't that depressing? Despite the absurdness of the plot, this is probably the most relatable thing I've ever seen in a shonen anime. You get to a certain age as an anime fan where it's very hard to sit down and watch an anime about high school kids. It's simply harder to relate to them, but themes of wasted potential to your peers in Kaiju number 8 are concepts that anyone can relate to, despite your age. It's a shame about the whole hidden demon trope, because if it wasn't for that, there could be a really good message about never giving up on your dreams despite your age. Yeah, Dandadan is back after a short break for season 2, and that would typically mean that the animation quality has suffered quite drastically. But nah, seems that the only thing that suffered this time around was on a brief tangent. Studio Saru is generally starting to become one of my favorite anime studios out there. They breathe a certain type of life in any source material that they adapt. Just look at how this scene was handled in the manga versus how they adapted in the anime. One of their greatest feats was adapting Scott Pilgrim, because I had always thought that was going to live and die as a comic, but I was clearly wrong. The eccentricity of animation reminds me of Studio Trigger or Studio Shaft, something that's not really seen in the industry anymore with big studios like MAPPA. Kind of would have liked to see how they would have done with Chainsaw Man. The eccentricity is definitely warranted in this case, as Dandadan is fucking weird. Honestly, couldn't even give you a synopsis even if I wanted to, because a couple things I'd say would probably get me demonetized. But I think it's even better if you go in semi-blind. It's just that type of anime. Despite this, some of its more grounded and heartfelt moments are done incredibly well, and if you're able to get past a bunch of what I'd call
things we like to ignore about Japan,
you'll definitely enjoy it. I've always been obsessed with the night. There's something intoxicating about it. How the world slows down and chaos fades into silence. Streetlights hum softly, windows flicker like distant stars, and everything is wrapped in a dim, mysterious calm. I never really understood why I felt that way. Why I was drawn to wandering empty streets or sitting in still darkness with lo-fi rain ambience playing on loop. Until I watched Call of the Night. This anime finally gave shape to the feeling that I could never put into words. The show follows Kao Yamori, a 14-year-old boy disillusioned with the monotony of everyday life who begins exploring the city at night and meets Nazuna, a playful, enigmatic vampire. What starts as escapism turns to something deeper as Kao discovers a version of himself that only exists under moonlight. The entire show feels like one of those 24/7 YouTube rain music streams, moody, dreamy, ambient. And it's not just the aesthetic. The slow pacing, washed out neon colors, and lo-fi synth soundtrack pull you into that sleepy liminal headspace between reality and dream. It doesn't just romanticize the night, it understands it. The loneliness, the freedom, the detachment from routine. Call of the Night makes nocturnal solitude feel not only normal, but necessary. It's not a loud dramatic story, but one that lingers like the aftertaste of the night you don't want to end. Read the manga, trust me, the anime doesn't do it justice. But if you're diametrically opposed to reading manga, then the anime is nowhere near as good. So it's good. a decent romance anime, and a reminder that there is no telling what Japan will throw animation budget at. Every couple years, we are given an anime, a single anime that will create anime fans, will spawn movies, video games. It will literally feed generations. That anime is like many of its peers before it, will be something new and refreshing, innovative, one might say. It will most likely come from an already popular manga. What causes such an anime to reach these levels, you may ask? The characters, the story, the world building, the power system. No. We simply just don't know. Gachiakuta has fit all these prerequisites. So does it have potential to be that anime? Nah, it doesn't. But it's good though. Gachiakuta has everything going for it. An interesting plot, a unique power system, and some of the coolest character designs I've seen since Bleach. But there's just something missing for it to become that anime. Maybe it's the pacing, maybe it's the tonal consistency, or maybe it's just hasn't had that one jaw-dropping, culture-shifting moment yet. And that's fine. Not every anime needs to carry the weight of an entire generation on its back to be worth watching. Right now, it's a great seasonal ride. Fun, stylish, and full of moments that make you lean a little closer to your screen. The beauty of anime is that time can turn a pretty good show into a cult classic. So who knows, maybe a few years from now, with the right arc, the right soundtrack swelling in the background, and that one scene, maybe we might look back and say, damn, we were watching history and we didn't even know it. Don't get me wrong, it's good, but man, I've seen this over and over and over again. Maybe it gets better, I don't know. We're only on like the 5th episode out here. If a ship's planks rot and are replaced one by one until none of the original wood remains, is it still the same ship? Six months ago, Yoshiki's best friend Hikaru vanished into the mountains without a trace. A week later, he reappeared confused, disoriented, and with no memory of what happened. But something was wrong. He looked like Hikaru, he spoke like Hikaru, he had remembered every moment they had ever shared. And yet, Yoshiki couldn't shake the feeling that this person standing before him wasn't Hikaru at all. The truth is far darker. A monster now lives in Hikaru's body, wearing him like skin, moving through the world as if nothing has happened. This monster has all the memories of Hikaru, behaves like him, and of course looks like him. So it brings me back to my first question. Is it the same ship? There's an uneasiness felt when watching this anime. It really doesn't feel like you're watching an anime. It pretty much feels like you're watching a horror movie. And of course it does. If the synopsis seems familiar, it's heavily inspired by the cult classic book and movie.
Like the others!
Elizabeth, wake up! Get you when you sleep! Sit up!
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
A movie in which organisms that kill and then take over human bodies run rampant in the military base, causing the psychological thriller of not knowing who's been snatched or is still human. But just the way it's directed, the close intimate shots, the body horror and the sound design, it's also horror movie-like. It's more than just a mystery. It's a slow, invasive dread that asks whether we can ever truly know another person. Hikaru leaves you with a chilling thought. If every piece of someone you love is replaced, memory by memory, smile by smile, when do they stop being the person you knew? So that's most of the anime this season. I don't think I've missed anything. Let me just continue scrolling. This has a great rating. Let me see what this is about. This seems wholesome as shit. Seems like it's about to be about some poor girl and her little companion. Where have I seen this before? Look at the dog, bruh. Bet this is gonna be a cool little coming of age story. In Takopi's Original Sin, we have yet another anime that reels you in with the false pretenses that this is going to be a cutesy coming of age story. But just as you feel like you're going to be embraced with the warm hug of moe, you're instead met with a gut punch of child murder. And a lot of it. We consume this story through the eyes of an alien squid named Takopi, whose only goal is to bring happiness to this little girl he meets, Kuze. Very much like a child himself, we don't immediately see or understand what's truly wrong with Kuze. Why Marina bullies her so cruelly, why Izuna is always quietly watching over her, or why everything around her feels so heavy and broken. As the story unfolds, Takopi's innocent attempts to spread joy collide with the harsh realities of the children's lives. What begins as a heartwarming tale of friendship slowly unravels into a deeply emotional, psychological exploration of generational trauma, abuse, and guilt, wrapped in a deceptively cute package. Takopi's Original Sin isn't just a story about trying your best to save others through quick fixes or surface level kindness. It's a story that reminds us that real healing doesn't come from magic gadgets or forced happiness. Sometimes there are no shortcuts to undo pain or trauma. Sometimes, despite our best intentions, we make things worse before we even begin to understand what someone is going through. But what the story gently, and sometimes painfully, shows is that being there, truly listening, staying present, showing someone they're not alone, can be more powerful than any device or quick fix. It's a story about empathy, about how difficult it is to confront the truth, and how meaningful it is when someone chooses to stay, even when they can't fix everything.